In Psalm 30, King David is praising God for a number of different reasons. We emphasized a number of videos ago that Psalm 30 emphasizes both the reality of going through life weighed down by a lot of things, a lot of troubles, but also the reality of God rescuing us from all of it. And in verse 3, David says, he's praising the Lord. He says, because Lord, you brought me up from the grave. You spared me from going down to the pit. And so David was feeling like he was like on the verge of death. Like this close to all of it just turning to nothing and not existing. And he says, God saved me. And how did he do that? I remember in high school once I was whitewater rafting with some friends. It was a church outing, and a buddy and I were in our raft together, and we were going through the rapids, and we're having a lot of fun. It was a great time. I've gone whitewater rafting a couple of times in my life, but apparently I missed a sign, or I missed a turn or something as I was in my raft with one of my friends, and instead of going this way, we went that way, and we didn't think anything of it until we were going down this very smooth, not whitewatery kind of path at all, and then we heard something in the distance. It sounded like a waterfall, as if we were drifting towards a waterfall, and we thought, well, that would be crazy. They wouldn't put a waterfall here. They wouldn't have us go down a waterfall. But sure enough, we were drifting in our raft towards a waterfall that was 2 or 3 stories tall. And we didn't know that at the time. We just know that we were coming to a waterfall, and we tried to paddle our way against the tide, or against the current, but it wasn't working. We were now going too fast, and we weren't strong enough, and our raft started spinning, and we're going around, and by the time we get to the edge of the waterfall, we're completely sideways, with both of us looking over the edge of the waterfall at the same time and looking at each other, and then our raft goes over. So it tipped over, we fell out, and down into the water. We went hard, and the raft kind of seemingly just floated down, landed on top of the water. So I'm underneath the water, and the raft landed right above me, and so it was blocking the powerful waterfall from hitting me underwater. So I go up to the top I swim up to the top, and I can feel the raft above me, and without thinking, I push the raft away from me, thinking, well, I'm going to be able to go to the top of the water, but that's not what happened at all. Instead, because I pushed the raft away from me, the powerful water coming from the top of the waterfall just drilled me and threw me underwater, and I was spinning underwater, not knowing which way was up, and not able to get my bearings at all, to the point that I was about to lose breath. This was happening for long enough, and I didn't know where I was. I didn't know how to get to safety. I didn't know anything. I'm just spinning and spinning and spinning under the water, holding my breath the whole time, but just about losing my breath, when I remembered something about the human body. The human body floats on top of water, but typically only if you're relaxed. And so I could tell which direction the waterfall was coming from eventually, and I didn't know how deep I was under the water, but I tried to get away from the waterfall, and then I relaxed amazingly. And as I relaxed, I could feel my body floating to the top of the water. And I got to the top of the water, and I breathed again when I poked my head out. I was completely still under the water, and being still and not working is what saved me. It's kind of in the same way. I've told this story many times over the course of my ministry, and I've yet to find like the perfect way to connect it to what God does for us. But it does make me think of what Moses told the Israelites at the Red Sea when he said, "You only need to be still, and you will see the Lord fight for you today." Or in Psalm 46, where God says, "Be still and know that I am God." In other words, you don't have to be. I am God. And you only need to be still. We've emphasized this already a couple of times in a couple of videos, including yesterday's, I think, but it's worth noting again. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to prove yourself capable. You don't have to succeed. You don't have to have a perfect record against temptation, or even a good one, in order to know that you're going to be okay in the end. David in the Psalm, he said, God saved him. God did all the work. God did all the heavy lifting. God sent a Savior. That Savior put himself on a cross. That Savior stayed there. After that Savior lived a perfect life that was acceptable to God and so much more valuable than yours and mine, which is why his sacrifice was accepted. And you and I were forgiven. And so you are. You're forgiven. You're loved. You are his. You are. And you just need to do nothing. Just know it's true. God does all the work. And we receive all the benefits. We have a good God. You have a good God. Rest well tonight, my friends.